All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Guys, today we have a Houston Rocket video here on Houston Rocket Daily. Thank you guys for all the support on the last couple of videos. We are now 7 subscribers away from 600, so thank you guys for the continued support. I wanted to make this video because, get out of here. I wanted to make this video because, Garrison Matthews has really been emerging, and Jalen Green is still not playing. He's still got an injury. He'll be back. I'm going to say by the end of the week. I thought the reports were by the end of the week, but they're definitely not trying to rush him or anything like that. So maybe it'll be early next week or whenever it is. 2 weeks max. I saw a comment, actually, I think it was on this channel, where someone brought up, and this has been going around on like just the Rockets community, especially on Twitter, of a starting lineup consisting of Kevin Porter Jr., KPJ, and then you have Garrison Matthews at the 3, Jalen Tate at the 4, and then you have Christian Wood at the 5. If Jalen Green were to come back right away, I would say 100%. I don't know if Garrison Matthews is the long-term solution at small forward. My worry is that he's just on a hot streak right now, and once Jalen Green comes back, if they don't mesh together, then it's like, well, now what do we do? So I've also seen some comments where people want Eric Gordon to just remain at the 3. You got Jalen Tate there at the 4, and then you've got Jalen Green at the 2. I've seen a lot of people say, throw Jalen on the bench. He's shooting 37% from the field. He's clearly not ready for the NBA speed to start and get 35-ish minutes a night. Let's slow the roll down here. Before we get into this video, look, guys, if you enjoy it, you like Rockets content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I was not off board. If you guys remember, if you guys watched my videos this summer, when the Rockets drafted Jalen Green, I was not off. I wasn't saying that Jalen Green has to come off the bench. I was pretty much keeping my mind open, because for me, I thought that the Rockets were going to be a competitive team this year. I genuinely thought that the Rockets were going to be in the race for the 8th seed in the play-in tournament. And if that was the situation, I figured, yeah, maybe Jalen Green comes off the bench for the first 10-15 or so games until he gets his bearings in the NBA, so we can continue to win games and stay relevant. That's off the table. The Rockets, right now, they're 4-16. They're not the worst team in the NBA because of the Orlando Magic, but Jalen Green, like, you're 4-16. You're not winning a championship. Just be real here. The Rockets aren't making the playoffs. If the Rockets make the playoffs, that would be amazing. But the goal right now, it's not even really to make the playoffs. It's just to continue to develop. It's continue to progress. See what you've got. Try and make it work. Have some good wins. Stay healthy. And just evaluate the players for moving forward for next year and for the next 3-5 years even. That's what Rafael Stone's doing. He's taking these notes. He's watching these games. You're 4-16. There's no reason for Jalen to come off the bench. We're not here to win basketball games. We are here to win basketball games, but we're not desperate. We're not the Los Angeles Lakers, who need to win more basketball games because they're 11-11 and have 3 top 70 players. We've got a bunch of Hall of Famers on that team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we aren't desperate to go on a win streak here. So Jalen Green, I want to just kibosh that idea. Eric Gordon, the reason Eric Gordon intrigues me in the starting lineup, and I have not figured out whether or not I would want Garrison Matthews or Eric Gordon at that 3 spot. Ideally, Daniel Theis needs to be gone in the rotation just in general. Floor spacing, it's horrible. If the Rockets were having just an abysmal night on the defensive end, maybe bring in Daniel Theis, maybe. Still not a huge Daniel Theis fan, but I mean, the reality of it is he's still on the roster. You're still going to have to play him, or maybe trade him, but like, I doubt that happens, because why would you sign him if you're going to trade him in the first year? So he's a whole headache. I don't even want to think about him right now. But I haven't figured out whether or not I want Eric Gordon at that 3 spot or I want Garrison Matthews at that 3 spot. Garrison, the plus side for him is his defensive ability, and just he's a sharpshooter. Him and Armani Brooks, they're our best 2 shooters. I know Eric Gordon can obviously shoot that long ball, and he can shoot it at a good clip, but Garrison Matthews, to me, is like a 40% plus shooter. If you give him good looks, if you give him open looks, he's taking a couple a game, 40%, maybe hovers just a little bit below it. Also, Garrison Matthews on the defensive end, he's been very useful. Very, very useful. So You have that. Eric Gordon. Oh, Eric Gordon, when is he not going to be a Rocket anymore? I love him. I love him as a Rocket. I will always hold him true to me. He will always be an important player to me, especially in those hard eras. But, man, he doesn't have a role on this team. There's zero reason to have Eric Gordon on this team. And if you tell me it's to have a veteran, oh, my goodness. There is zero reason Eric Gordon should be on the roster right now. Zero. Unless you're competitive, which they're not. So the reasoning that I don't mind Eric Gordon, the idea of him at the 3 spot, is just to get his trade value up. I think it's hard for Eric sometimes to get in a rhythm on the bench when he's playing with a completely new rotation every single game. Every single game, it's a new rotation off the bench. You either get someone new's entered, someone's left it, someone's getting more minutes, someone's getting left. Like, the bench is always getting tweaked with that. I think it's hard for Eric Gordon to kind of get in a groove. But then you have the other night, last night, where they won. They beat the Thunder, and Eric Gordon, yeah, he came through in the fourth quarter, but he scored 11 points. He didn't shoot the ball well, and it's like, he's not even really helping his trade value. He seems to be more useful off the bench because that's where he has more room. Like, that's where he can go and do his thing. He can go and score. So I see the reasoning to have Eric Gordon at the 3 spot. In my opinion, I don't think that we should be starting a player that we anticipate to trade this year. Doesn't make sense to me. A competitive team will be calling our phones very soon. It's not going to happen quite yet. Like, a team like the Lakers would be, like, they would love, like, if Eric Gordon wasn't owed $20 million this year, like a team like the Lakers, I think he would fit pretty well on that team. But these competitive teams are going to be calling the Rockets number. They're going to be asking, they're going to be trying to trade for Eric Gordon. It's going to happen. He's a good player. Regardless of the season he's having, as long as he's consistent enough and he's having good enough nights, teams are going to want him. So I think Eric Gordon, I think you put him at the bench. I don't think you really tweak with that. Garrison Matthews, he's still not my favorite idea because he's on a 2-way contract. So it's like, I don't want to start a player on a 2-way contract for the long term unless the Rockets have an idea that they want to sign him for the long-term contract, or they want him to be like a legitimate piece for the future of their team. Ideally, I would want KJ Martin Jr. to start at that position, but that's not going to happen. But either way, regardless of who starts at the 3 spot, one of the big reasons, and you can't forget about John Wall. If John Wall comes back, who knows if he's going to be coming off the bench or if he's going to be starting. In that situation, I would want, if John Wall came back and he wants to start, I'd go John Wall, KPJ, Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, and Christian Wood. Because eventually you're going to move Christian Wood to the 4 spot and you're going to put Alfred Şengün at the 5 position. The reasoning I really want Jayshawn Tate at the 4 ball is because he has a plethora of post moves. Like, he literally played 4 years as center at college at Ohio State, played 2 years overseas, and he has just this arsenal of post moves that if you have Christian Wood and you have Daniel Tice down there, it's going to be really hard to get there. It's too congested. It's just way too congested. So the Rockets are in a pretty good, they have a good problem to have, a good problem right now, because it's like, who should we start moving forward? Because a lot of these young Rockets players, after 20 games, it really took them like 15, they're starting to catch their rhythm. You can see the team chemistry. It's banging. Like, this team is happy right now. They've won 3 straight, and it's just awesome to watch. So that's it for today, guys. Drop your predictions or drop who you want to be in the starting lineup for the next Rockets game. I believe it's tomorrow night. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. See you guys later.